This episode is brought to you by the Ultimate Girls Trip. Here is our reoccurring daydream. Us at a drool-worthy pool, surrounded by our business besties. We just finished a powerful exercise on building our dream lives and executing our business goals. Join us if you are ready to be celebrated for taking up space, to feel purposeful, and to live a life of fulfillment. Go to proofitspossible.com for more info. Welcome to Proof It's Possible. Jamie and I are multifaceted entrepreneurs, the founders of the Ultimate Girls Trip, and the hosts of Proof It's Possible. Jamie and I are also sisters, best friends, and complete opposites, but somehow we always manage to stay on the same team. Join us every week to hear our thoughts on all things entrepreneurship, friendship, family, pop culture, and more.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello.
Today, we're chatting about the achievement hangover. You know that feeling when you do something big and exciting, maybe even scary, and then it's over with and you kind of get into a slump, or you're feeling blue, or you're feeling like, okay, now what? You're lost, or whatever that feeling looks like for you. But it's the achievement hangover, also known as a vulnerability hangover, in my opinion.
Yes, exactly. Well, I feel like there's a couple of different ways you can go after you do a thing. And I have like a theory about it. And I made up I started saying vulnerability hangover back when I first started public speaking many years ago, because what I feel like happens is we drive towards a goal. We drive all our days, all our nights, practice the speech, write the book, get the deadline, meet your deadline. And all of your life and your energy drives towards this big, audacious goal, especially if it has a big deadline.
Yeah.
And then you do it, everyone claps, and then what? And it's just like silence after. You now have free time you didn't have for the last several months, maybe years. You don't know if you'll do it again. You don't know if anyone will buy the thing, if you're selling something, like if it's a product launch. So it's like,
I think that it can happen in more than just like your achievements. I think this hangover can happen if you like put yourself out there. You know, you go on a retreat, or you go to a business mastermind that you didn't have to do a lot to prep to get there.
No.
But once you were there, you had to be vulnerable. You had to make new friends. You had to stand on your own 2 feet. You had to talk about your business in a vulnerable way. And then you come home from that and you're like, whoa, that was a lot.
Yes.
Like, and you feel this like, okay, now what?
Or you can leave there on the highest high you've ever been on. And you're like, the world's my oyster. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to be a millionaire by Monday. I'm going to do everything. I can do everything. I'm the bomb. Me and my new friends are the bomb. We're all going to conquer the world together.
What I think happens is you most likely you're on that high, and then you get home to your regular life, and no one else in your world is on that high. And it feels like you've just entered a room full of, Debbie Downers, and you're like,
oh, absolutely. For sure.
It's all the same people.
And you're trying to explain your magical experience to people,
and they don't understand.
Nobody understands. And the thing is, that's the same with if you do like your speaking thing. You come off the high and you're like, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
It's just over. Now what? And there is this like dip that kind of feels sad. And I know that that's like such a shit thing. And so I had an experience recently where I got a notification, like I was like watching TV at night or hanging out Darren or something. And I looked down at my phone and it was a notification from like a post from forever ago. So I was like, well, that's really weird. And somebody had like left me a nice message about my book launch. And I was like, oh, I should go look at what book launch highlights I have on my Instagram. Like what did it even happen there?
See?
Exactly. Like I blacked it out. I totally blacked it out. But it put me down a rabbit hole of like looking at my own stuff that I hadn't done in a long time. And I like relived stuff I didn't know happened during that time. So like our book launches were super fun. We had 2 launches, 2 cities, 2 big parties, lots of people that love us showed up, like the bomb. We made bestseller. So in my mind, I like checked the box of like, I made bestseller in the categories that my book was in. But what I didn't realize is that both of us had made, well, I did realize it because I made a post about it. It's not that I didn't realize it, it just got lost in the shuffle of the
Mhm.
excitement and the happiness and the fun. We had made top 100 in all books, both of our books. Top 100 in all books. And Jamie, that is the biggest accomplishment of both of our books combined. But for whatever reason, I made bestseller in like another category or multiple other categories that were more smaller categories than all books sold on Amazon that day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just blurred it. I just literally didn't give myself the credit. And I'm so bad for that. I'm so bad for like giving myself the credit for the like 24 hours that I after,
Mhm.
and then I move on. I'm like, what's next? Like a bad quality. Like I will say that I think that it might be one of my worst qualities because it's like it's my worst quality, my best quality because it keeps your drive going to always do something
Yes.
new and big and awesome and
Yes.
continue dreaming and building your life the way you want it. But it's also sit in that. Like give yourself permission to do some of your own patting on the back and like sitting in the happiness of it and like being
Mhm.
amazed at your accomplishment because we move on way too quick for something we worked that hard for.
Yes.
Should have got more than 24 hours worth of like, well, this is fun. Okay, next.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So what is your tip? What is your tip for somebody who is working really hard towards an achievement and then they achieve it?
Well,
What is some like tips and tricks you have for that?
okay, so this is the thing. First of all, emotionally prepare yourself for the low afterwards. For the
Mhm.
lost in space feelings afterwards. Like with the now I don't have to write my book every night till 1 o'clock in the morning to fit it into my day. Now I have free time. Now I have to get back to like my life that because this is the thing for me. If I'm excited about something, I'm way more likely to burn the midnight oil or get up really early and write
Oh yeah.
or
Oh yeah.
work hard
Yeah.
on something.
You're way more motivated when you're
Way
excited.
more motivated.
For
And
sure.
also, we had book launch parties
Yeah.
and launch dates that we had to hold accountable to. So it was not just something where we were like, oh, yeah, if we get it done by September, good for us. It was like
Yeah.
we had editors waiting, and then we had book cover designing, and then we had to get it into, production. So there was no like, put it on your own schedule, put it on the back burner time. And so what I didn't do was emotionally prepare because I've had to learn these techniques where I like talk myself through and visualize myself through my speech, for instance. But then I also visualize myself after the speech is over. And like I go so far as I basically see myself like having time to myself, being able to take more time to do things that also bring me joy, like go out for dinner with Darren because I'm not practicing constantly or I'm not writing constantly. So I have to like pre-fill in with other things that bring me joy and like pre-plan for them. Make plans with friends because I literally was like, I would do that and then just feel lost and almost like sad after I
Mhm.
would do a
Mhm.
big speaking engagement that I was excited for. I'd be like, okay, well now it's over.
Mhm. Yeah,
Life's
and I
empty.
think for the listeners that don't do speaking engagements and the
Yeah,
listeners that haven't written a book, I think to like put it on a broader spectrum, this can happen with anything. It can be like,
anything. Your
you
vacation,
finally admitted to your family and friends about the new business that you're about to start. You've
right?
finally done
Well, going on a vacation, you know how many times I like
Mhm.
anticipate the riding the high for the whole month before, get on the holiday, have the fun, do the things, joy, 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 get home. And I'm like, now what?
Yeah.
I need another trip, and it's like, you can't take certain trips every month,
Yeah.
like at a certain point, you have to stay home and do normal things. So it's like, I can even do it with just like something as joyful as a trip where I'm like, now I really want something else to look forward to. And I do actually think it's important. That's kind of my point is like, when you do get home from a trip, make plans to see your girlfriends if that also brings you joy. Like, find the micro ways to like
Yeah.
fill in that
That
joy.
that would be like my biggest thing is like find a ritual you do after the
Yes.
joyous thing that
Yes,
also brings you joy. Like, so if
totally.
after a big accomplishment or something that scares you, plan a dinner with your girlfriends,
Yeah,
plan a whatever that looks like for you, but like
Mhm.
have like a ritual around it so that you know what's coming next. You can
Totally.
prepare for that low by already having something that you know is going to like lift you back up.
I agree. The other thing I recommend is have a buddy system where you have somebody to talk to about it. Because, like,
Yeah.
do you know when something big happens in your life or you're really excited about something and you go to just your regular people, like, that
Yes.
aren't seeing it coming? And, it might be somebody that absolutely loves you and wants the best for you, but they're scared for you. Their
Yeah.
nerves get into your
It's
mind, whatever,
oftentimes more so than like a perfect, like someone who doesn't want to see you win. It's someone who wants to see
wants
you
to see you
win
win. Yeah,
really bad, but is feeling so scared for you. So
for
they're
you.
going to be the like, the devil's advocate, the person
Mhm.
on your shoulder being like, are you
Well, and like using the example of,
sure?
let's say you finally got the courage to be like, listen, I have this idea. I want to start this business. I'm really excited about it. Here's all the stuff I've planned out and I've put all my time and energy
Yeah.
into it, kind of like ready to like soft launch it with the people you know. And you go tell your husband or your parents or
Yeah.
your friend or, people you think are going to be like so pumped and jazzed for you. And they're like, well, what's going to happen if this happens? Well, what does it
What if
cost
no
up
one
front?
buys? What if
Yeah.
nobody
What if
likes
nobody
that?
buys? What if nobody wants to
Don't
hear
you
your
think that
voice?
already exists?
Yeah. Don't you think there's enough people doing this?
Mhm.
And like gives you one of those and like you're going to crumble because we already are stepping out on this limb being like, I think all these thoughts already. I
Mhm.
need my people to like be like, awesome idea. Love it. I'd buy that. I would love to see
Mhm.
you do that. And like you're not all your people are going to say that. And so find your like vulnerability accomplishment buddy that
Yeah.
is on the same trajectory as you that likes to cheer you on, even if they're not in the same business. Like they don't
Yeah.
have to be in the same world. They just have to be somebody that's like, get it, girl. Yeah,
Yes. And
I
like
believe
my
in you.
biggest piece of advice on this topic is that if you go to a retreat, you go to a mastermind,
Mhm.
you go to an event of some kind, you find somebody that was also in that room to be your buddy. And
Totally.
it can be multiple people. You guys can like
Totally.
go home and start a group chat, all of you, or you
Whatever.
can go home and be like, oh, I only bonded with this one person, or that's the only one that I want to
Mhm.
like, keep a relationship with outside of this.
Yep.
But let that become the person so that you have this mutual shared experience. You were both
Yes.
riding the same high. You were both feeling excited. You were
Mhm.
both buzzing with the energy of like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to build the
And
business. We're going to do all of the
yeah,
things so
and
that
the
you,
openness to say like I deflated the minute I explained my retreat or my experience
yes,
or my
yes.
new friendships with my husband, my friends, my
Mhm.
whatever, so that they can
The,
be like, me too, or, you
mhm.
know,
The
don't
other
worry
thing
about it.
my other suggestion is, if you do something like a retreat or a mastermind where you're brainstorming, coming up with new ideas, helping to
Yeah,
build a business, something that requires action after the fact, don't come home and sit in it. Of all the
totally.
things that you need to do, pick one
Mhm.
thing. Pick one thing, but
Mhm.
keep moving.
Yes.
Like,
Well, and
because it's paralyzing. If you
mhm.
look at the marathon and you've never ran a day in your life, it's paralyzing. To
Exactly.
like, you're like, I can't possibly run 44K. I don't even know how many kilometers,
Me
miles
either.
are in a marathon, but
I have
it's
no
something
idea.
along those lines.
I
But
don't even know if they measure in kilometers or miles. I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it's like 40. Where I don't know.
Whatever.
It's not the point of the story. Is
Mhm.
that it's very daunting if you've never ran at all.
For
But
sure.
if you can run 1 kilometer on day one and
Mhm.
1.1 kilometer on day two and 1.1 kilometer on day three. And each week you go up by 0.1 of a kilometer. Next thing you know, you can easily run 44 kilometers, however many kilometers.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
not as daunting. So my suggestion is that rather than come back to your desk with all of
Mhm.
these ideas where you're like, I'm going
Yep.
to do the thing and I'm going to, by next year at this time, I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm going to launch this project and it's going to be on Amazon and it's going to
Mhm.
be in the Oscar swag bag. Whatever your dream is,
Totally.
do not sit there and be like, but how do I get there?
Well, and the
How do I get to
universe
the end line?
loves
Do one thing every single day to
yes.
just keep momentum.
Well, and the universe loves speed.
Yeah.
So the faster and more like committed actions you take, the
Mm-hmm.
more the universe is like, I see you, I hear you, I know what you want. I see
Mhm.
you, I hear you, I know what you want. And
Mhm.
it can help you get it. But if you're
Yeah.
like, oh, everyone's already doing this, and
Mhm.
at the mastermind, they said it would be way
Mhm.
easier, and I didn't make content for 3 days. So, it's kind of like the example of like, just because you ate bad at dinner, do you need to then wake up and eat bad at the next breakfast? Or do
Mhm.
you say, like, I didn't make content for 3 days, but today I'm going to do something. Today I'm going to
Mhm.
make content because my goal is to make content 5 days a week or 7 days a week. Whatever you've promised yourself while you were having all those big dreams, whether while you were seeing yourself and your life in its best possible form, you
Yeah.
know, that's
Yeah.
going to take a different set of skills than just living a mundane life. And I always think of it like, I think the workout thing is such a good example. If you went to the gym and you just like never sweat, slowly, really slowly walked on a treadmill, but you were there for an hour. So you saw it as like, I worked out for an hour. Do you think you're gonna have the same results as somebody who goes there for 20 minutes, but they sprint on the treadmill for the whole 20 minutes? They burn twice as many calories.
Mhm.
They are going to get to their goal faster because they acted faster. They
Well,
literally sweat it out.
even more so, the person who's thinking about going to the gym is
Yes,
definitely not going to reach their goal because they're
exactly.
still thinking about it.
Yes, they're
No?
stuck at home being like, "I don't really have the right shoes yet, so I better not
Yeah.
go."
Yeah.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
other thing I think is that when you do something fun, exciting, liberating, vulnerable, and then you come home and you have that crash, I like to have something that reminds me, takes me back to that place, that like empowers me. So if,
Mhm.
for instance, like if it's a um trip that I took on, well, what can I integrate into my everyday life? Can my screensaver be a picture of me on that trip to remind
Yes.
me that like I love to travel, and
Yep,
the reason I work so hard at my computer is so that one day I can get back there. Or
exactly. Or do you
one book
put
that
your
I
book cover, or do you put your
yes.
podcast cover art? Do you like, what will keep you being like, "I'm the badass bee that did these things, and I'm not letting my, like, accomplishment or achievement hangover," you
Yeah.
know?
And like so one thing that the girls implemented after our very first Ultimate Girls trip was
Mhm.
somebody wrote in the group chat like, "Hey, does anyone have any songs that inspire them? Do you remember
Yes.
this?" And then people started chiming in with songs that inspire them, and then it became like the Ultimate Girls Trip playlist.
Yes.
So every time I want to feel empowered, I'm like, I'm gonna go throw that on. Like
Yeah,
like you
exactly.
all of a sudden, for me, music, anyways,
Yeah.
music and smells take me right back to that very moment, that very
Mhm.
time, and like even the
Totally.
very first Lori Harder Bliss project I went to. You
Yeah.
remember that
Oh, yeah.
song that played, and it was like,
Yes.
and I still to this day, if I hear that song, it like stops me dead in my tracks, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I am
Yeah, it's the
powerful. I
Beyonce
am
I Am
whatever
or
the
whatever.
girl was
Yeah.
yelling at us to
Mhm.
believe. Like I immediately go back to that person where I'm like, yeah, I am a badass bitch that can do whatever the hell I want.
Exactly.
My dreams are sky's the limit for me. Like,
Mhm.
so I just think that there's ways in which you can incorporate the highs of your life and bring them
Yeah,
back to the like mundane of your life and remind you of what it is that you're working towards.
I agree. And if you've ever felt accomplishment or achievement hangover, vulnerability hangover, we'd love to hear what like triggered it for you, because we
Yeah.
obviously have shared our specific experiences. But we know that they're going to be very different than the times that you were like, "Oh, this just didn't
Hmm.
I didn't keep my momentum. I didn't
Hmm.
maximize my opportunity after that," whatever it looks like. And we would just love to hear your feedback about today's podcast.
Bye, guys.
Bye. We are so grateful you're here.
It would mean the world to us if you'll subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel and leave us a review.
If you want to hear more from us, go to proofitspossible.com to join our mailing list and find our social links so you don't miss a thing.
Thanks, and chat next time.